All right, guys. There's a couple of party dudes. This channel is going to be about going out and partying and what to say to chicks. No, actually, this is a test run. My phone's ghetto because I'm not rich like Scott over here.
Yeah, school teacher.
Yeah, but got some great news. Scott going to the Philippines, but before we go there, very quick, since this is kind of like the first video, not to sound weird, this isn't a self-help channel. It's not anything like that. Not trying to make money off this thing, anything. I'll be 45 next month. This guy's already like 55. And we both have master's degrees, who cares? But it's not like we're just, a couple of idiots out there.
Wow.
Yeah, well, maybe. But basically, I don't know, we'll get into this more later, but we're just kind of like, dude, we gotta get out of the matrix. Hence the term, name of the channel. And we're also not, Timothy Ward, we love his channel. This is coming at it at a little bit different angle because we have worked. I've worked over 20 years, corporate America. Worked in New York City, a bunch of places. This guy's worked even
40 years.
Yeah, well, I don't know how hard he worked, but he technically worked. But he's a school teacher, totally different directions. I'm like, dude, I just got to get out of here, explore life. And I'll explain that. My wife's totally like, yes, go for it. He, a little bit different path, wanted to go to the Philippines. His wife supports it too, kind of. But in other words, both of us, totally different situation, totally different. Like, he's kind of like old Gen X, I'm young Gen X. But we're all in the same boat. So hopefully during this whole thing, we can kind of, give some nuggets to try to say, look, 99% are going to take the blue pill. What's his name?
Neo?
No, the blue pill guy with a goatee that eats the steak.
Oh, Cypress.
Cypher. I think that's it. Anyway, you're like, Matrix?
Cypress.
Cypress? I don't know. Anyway, most people are like, gosh, what a bunch of losers. He's got a good 6-figure corporate job. He needs to stay put. And Scott over here is in one of the highest paid school district areas in the country. So he needs to stay put too and just work till you're 65.
Well, it is Arkansas. So
That's true. Arkansas.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we say anything else, let me have Scott kind of kick off a little about your story. And real quick, before I say anything, I know this is all jumbled. It was just over 20 years ago. I was working at a department store just out of college. This loser came in, and technically you reported to me, I think?
Yeah, well, that's a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't report very much.
No. So that's kind of where it all started, circa 2002, early 2002.
2001.
2001, okay. And then here we are today, the successes you see before you. But anyway, take it away. Tell them about why you're wanting out of the Matrix and what you're doing about it.
So I've wanted
Cliff notes.
Cliff notes, yeah. I've wanted out of the Matrix for just a few years now. I was so much involved with getting a big house or getting a nice car, having 2 dogs, fenced yard, all that kind of things that we've been fed all our lives that I just never questioned it at first. I thought it was just what you do. And then I realized that there's a lot more out of life that we can get, that we don't have to basically work ourselves into the ground before we die. I've been looking at different ways of being able to get early retirement, but do it in as safe as possible. But nothing's ever safe in this life. You always have to take a risk. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can take the blue pill and work till you're 65 and maybe 67, get your full pension from Social Security.
Die at 70.
Maybe die at 70, like you said, have a 401k that's $300,000-$400,000 if you're lucky. Most people aren't, unlike this guy over here. But but the thing that's driven me to this point is that I want something different out of life. I want some kind of adventure. I want some kind of like different way of living. I also like to cut my expenses because, to be honest, to work in this society, the way things are with inflation, how expensive it is, I'm going to have to work until I'm 67, and I'm like, I might not even make it till I'm 67. And it's not good for your health working so much, and you know, I gotta lose weight, obviously. And I just found myself saying, you know what can I do? What steps can I take to get out of this, you know, the situation and live a different type of life? And I love teaching. I teach dyslexics. I've taught dyslexics now for over 12 years. I've been teaching for like almost 20 years. And I'm really good at my job. But you know what? There's a lot more to life. And I think that on this path, I'm actually looking a way to get out and have a whole different perspective on life and live my dream. And nothing's ever easy and nothing's ever paradise. But my goal is to get to the Philippines and have a different life, different thought patterns, less stress. Of course, it won't be at first because you got to move and the transition. But we'll see what happens. And you know, you can take this journey with me. It's maybe you don't want to go out of country. Maybe you want to go like a little bit more off grid, like James here, who works at, you know, he makes like $150,000 a year, but here at 45 almost, he's wanting to escape that route. I'm trying to escape out of country, but it's not more than just escaping from your job. It's actually going towards something wonderful, something adventurous, whether it's off grid, whether it's a new country, whether it's a new way of life, maybe living out in the country. And I'm rambling, and James, take it away.
Well, and just to fill in a little bit about what he said, not that we have all the answers. We have probably a lot more of the, hey, don't do this. But no, to his point, it's also not like I'm going to go, you know, want to go raise chickens and, you know, be like Jeremiah Johnson. I'm actually wanting to do what most of us want, a very nice off-the-grid setup. And this one's in his fat house. The next one we do will probably be in the off-the-grid place. I should have started this like during the time I was building it, because trust me, I'm no carpenter. But also I'm wanting to have basically 1 foot in modernity and 1 foot kind of in off-the-grid. So it's not like I'm, you know, Mr. Minimalist. Gina, basically my wife, was like, okay, fine, you can keep the house, you know, here in town. You can do the off-the-grid thing, but we'll get into that more later. I told her a long time ago, I was like, hey, if we hit about mid-40s and we don't have kids, which just happened to be the case, I said, I'm not going to be able to keep deluding myself, I don't think, with a background in history and philosophy to just keep in, you know, corporate America. And I think that one thing that'll be interesting about just some of the stuff we'll end up sharing on some of these, you know, future videos, if you're interested, is just different perspectives. You know, having a decent retirement, having, but again, what's decent? Minimalizing, but not minimalizing to the point, you know, I'm not talking no TV. I mean, I'm just saying a little bit more simplicity is worth saving my soul. And again, we'll also kind of get into, you know, different personalities. We're both big Alan Watts fans. You know, we both were very moved by the
Into the Wild.
Yeah, Into the Wild, Siddhartha, Herman Hesse, and we're both Christian. So you're like, oh wait, are these Buddhist guys? But I do think that Satori element, whatever you want to call it, does have something to offer everyone. So the one thing, and we just talked about that recently, saying, you know what, we should just put something together. There's a few people, again, Timothy Ward, great stuff. But his angle is a little bit more, hey, I never signed up, you know, to corporate life or to the school teacher. You know, I'm kind of much more nomadic, which is awesome. Well, that's not most of us. On the other hand, I'll see a lot of other channels, like the guy retire at 59, with 500K. Again, 500K, it depends on who you're talking to. A lot of the people I work with are like, 500K, that's nothing. So again, they're looking at me like, oh my gosh, James, are you nuts? Is this a midlife crisis? No, this is I think just sound judgment. So we'll see what happens. Lord willing, a year from now, it's gonna be, about a year from now, I'm gonna be like, all right, corporate, bye-bye. We'll see what happens. What's funny with Scott over here, sorry, I'm James, he's Scott, goes by Scooter, just kidding. But it was just like months ago that you were like, dude, I think I'm gonna get out of here at 60. Then I said, that's fine, dude, just, and he's like, gosh, 5 years. And I said, well, you know what, shoot for 59. And he's like, I think I can do 58. Then all of a sudden he's like, you know what, I'm gonna pull some strings, I think I can do 57. Well, guess what? Now he's shooting for 56. He turns 56 this summer. June. So he has, and I was just listening to his call to the Philippines. We'll go into it more later. But, I mean, talk about fast forward. And you're thinking, gosh, this guy's a nut. Well, we'll talk about that. I mean, my background in philosophy, even though I've been a corporate slave, they've been pretty good to me. It's just that, again, we'll go more into that in future videos. My time in New York City, great. I mean, I'm the type, you drop me in the middle of Manhattan, it's great. I'll thrive. It's fine. But it also kind of gets toxic at a certain point. So, the people like to use the words of Joe Rogan. That's like, no, it's a good job. I'm happy. Are you really, or are you just delusional? I mean, yeah, exactly. You read a book like Walden, Henry David Thoreau, and you start saying, you know what? I think this guy might have it figured out. Whenever he's talking about, okay, how much of your life are you sacrificing for the Corvette? And again, yes, we're in the Northwest Arkansas region. You're thinking Northwest Arkansas. Well, it's got the biggest company in the world headquartered here, and it's also got, I think it's the 15th biggest company in the world and the 400th biggest company. So in other words, this area has 3, for sure, Fortune 500 companies, and the number one that I work at. And so in other words, it is very quickly becoming affluent, a little bit disconnected, and most people see it, but it's kind of like they've taken the blue pill, to Scott's point, for so long. It's kind of like they stop seeing it, and they don't even realize it. They kind of become the whole human doings instead of human beings. So hopefully in this, channel, whatever you want to call it, and again, to me, if I have one view, I don't think we really care. Part of it's almost like a diary, but also, hopefully, some poor schmuck like us, in the future, maybe it can be helpful. Just to be able to say, wait a minute, how did you do this? That's fine, ask us. Well, again, if things work out, you're going to see a much different lifestyle from the corporate jargon, and then you're also going to see him halfway across the world within the next, I'd say year, but let's see, maybe a lot sooner than that. So that's what we're going to be documenting, and we may be doing some little podcasts with some other people that kind of, playing devil's advocate to look at the other side. We might be reviewing movies like Sideways, or Into the Wild, or Siddhartha, Alan Watts, whatever the case may be. But anyway, hopefully this will be something a little bit unique, to where it's not, somebody wanting to go out and live in a hut in the woods. That's way too extreme. Or the typical channel, hey, I think you can increase your IRA by, 83% if you do these few steps. World's getting crazy, and I think it's a good time to kind of, you hear about quiet quitting, all this other stuff. Well, I think it all makes sense if you look at it through a proper lens, and we're kind of learning it on our own. But anyway, we'll see what the future holds, and with Philippines, with off-grid, and hopefully the next one of these videos will be off-grid, so you'll kind of see that, if a dummy like me can put something together for about 30 grand, then anyone can. And I literally just fumbled my way through YouTube channels. But I don't know, anything else? What do you want to say?
No. This will be an adventure, and I think you guys will, and gals, will possibly probably enjoy the ride, because you too can get out of the matrix as well.
Exactly. And like I said, different groups here, 55, 45, corporate school teacher, it's all still the matrix. So hopefully this will be good. And we'll see you guys on the next one.